Map. Today we got a good one. This is with Ray Foote. She's awesome. She works with Hachette Book Group out of New York City, loves children's literacy, and works with reading partners out of NYC. Super fun conversation, bubbly, interesting, opinionated, and one that you won't want to miss. She's awesome. She's fun. We're looking forward to the next time. So with that, if you like what you hear, you enjoy it, you've liked other episodes, please go like, subscribe below. Helps us out. Leave a comment if you like it. That helps us as well. And enjoy this conversation with Ray. All right. Welcome to Burn the Map, Ray. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you. Long time ago. You can't tell, but I'm like 6'2", 300. I'm a big dude. And you can't tell, but I was also probably the biggest kindergarten teacher in China at one point.
Oh my gosh.
One of those moments when I left to kind of like, you try to figure out what to do with your life, and you go to school, and then you realize that doesn't necessarily show you what you want to do with your life. And my mom went, you need to go travel a little bit. She kicked me out the door. I went to China for 6 months and taught kindergarten, which was like the last thing that a guy like me theoretically should have done. And it was fun as hell. Big fan of it. Big proponent of kids and especially literacy, because there's so many where you just go and you get to see the world a little bit. You realize there's a lot of unlucky people in the world, and we are not them. And so getting access to that stuff, I think, is like one of the biggest things. So talking to you, someone that is in publishing, that is driven by kids and children's literacy, for me is a special treat. And I want to know how the hell you got to it. What brought you kind of to this field? How'd you get here?
Yeah, God, that is a twisted and convoluted path. And I wish I could say I did it strategically and on purpose, but I have kind of tripped and fallen and stumbled into what I would like to call just, I don't know. I don't like to say a dream, because it's also occasionally a nightmare, like it's life, right? But I know when you say like, oh, I work publishing in New York City, and I'm on the associate board for a child's literacy like, it all sounds so much more impressive than I personally think it is. Especially when you get here by accident. So disclaimer, I'm not that cool, but thank you for thinking I am. But
I'll be telling your friends you are, so don't worry about it.
Thank you. But yeah, I started my career in military manufacturing. So I actually ran customer logistics for it's not small anymore, but it was kind of on the smaller side at the time, military manufacturing company. They do commercial manufacturing as well in San Luis Obispo, California. Nice. Absolutely loved that. Really, really cool technology, but from a morality standpoint, always kind of difficult to find the line between the engineering part of my brain that goes, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and wow, so many people could get hurt by this really cool thing we're building. And also wasn't a ton of upwards mobility for me at the company at the time, just given the role I had. So that's how I then tripped and stumbled and fell into a customer support role for a Series B startup, also on the Central Coast in California.
In my mind's eye, those are diametrically opposed roles. Like,
oh yeah,
couldn't be more. No. One is black and white, numbers, process, and then the other one is now touchy feely. And let me see if I can empathize and identify. Like, how do they get different?
Yeah. And the funniest part was, no one is more calm than an engineer in crisis at a military manufacturing plant. No one is more stressed out than someone who works in tech, who is not saving the world, where life and death are literally not on the line. But 0 times did I ever get a call at 3 a.m. in my military job saying that the sky is falling. I did, in fact, get a Slack message at 3 a.m. because a bug hit a system that impacted 12 whole customers when I worked in tech. So, it's what you can and can't put up with, I guess. But I'd say the military job was a lot more chill. But awesome. Yeah, it's just so funny to me too. Like, what people think is an emergency when you've worked in that industry. I got myself in a lot of trouble working in tech because I just couldn't take anything seriously. I was like, this doesn't matter. I started in customer support, couldn't keep my mouth shut, asked a lot of questions whenever we'd go to meetings about like new product releases and things like that, about how can this break? What is this going to impact when we think about this? When the API runs like this, how is that going to impact, data transfer here? And our director of product went, you ask good questions. why are you in customer support? Come be a product manager. So got poached over to
Call
the
it.
product team. Thank you. Yeah, I was pretty stoked about it as well,
Those are
and
really good
terrified.
questions, by the way, though. I do product,
Thank you.
I'm from product management. Those are damn good questions.
Thank you. I know this like it's partially my anxiety is because in my personal life I'm always thinking about what could go wrong and how to mitigate for that ahead of time. So it
Nice.
makes me an absolute menace to date, but a really great person to have on your team professionally.
I love it.
Um so that happened. I was part of a company-wide riff, took my severance check,
You can
fucked
swear
off
on
to
this. You can go
Europe.
nuts. Yep.
Fucked off to Europe for 2 weeks. And while I was in Europe, same director of product called me and said, "Hey, there's a guy in New York City who had offered me a job for his startup. I'm not going to take it. Do you want me to introduce you? Do you want to see if that works out for you?" And I said, "Sure, why not? I'm kind of over the Central Coast anyways. I don't think there's a lot left for me here." So ended up talking to that guy and coming over to New York City to work for a seed stage startup here. Hated it, was not doing the role that I was offered or that I had kind of signed up for. So hit my year mark and dipped out. And
Mhm.
similar to not as cool as teaching kindergarten in China, but also kind of just aimlessly freelanced and faked my way through life for about 9 months before that same director of product, God bless her, said, "Hey, I know someone from Twitter, back when it was Twitter, who
Mhm.
is created a brand new role at a publishing house for a senior manager of marketing technology. And I think you love books, you love reading, you love writing. This would be a perfect role for you. Do you want me to introduce you?" So she did. And I got that job. And my role has now transformed into just something entirely different. I do a lot of operations and strategy now, similar to my military manufacturing job, but I'm also working closely with the corporate products and the web services team, similar to product management. But then I also get to work with our central marketing team, which takes my passion for reading and writing and books and puts it real time. Like I did my seventh grade book report on Twilight. We published Twilight. It's a full circle moment for me. So it's been really, really cool, but I genuinely kind of just have fumbled my way through it and landed here somehow. So
Kind of
that's
like
that.
I actually like that though, because I remember, like, I don't know about you, but I remember genuinely stressing about what I would do and whatever else. Like one of like the most pivotal moments in my entire life, because I had to think about this. Um, I had to write a report of sorts as an adult, and they were like talking about
Mm.
like inflection points. And I remember one of
Mm-hmm.
those days was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do with my life. I sat down with my mom and I was going, I need a business degree. She's like, why? Because I'm like, I want to do business. And she's like, that's stupid. She hands me the book of all of the list of every class at the University of Utah. And she's like, go through every page and circle anything that looks interesting. And she kind of
Mm-hmm.
reverse engineered my program and degree. And it was one of those where I'm like, yeah, no one else could help me find that. The like the
Yeah.
idea of just everyone, want to do, but you don't need a damn business degree to do business. It has
No.
nothing to do with it.
No. If anything, I think
um,
having a business degree makes you worse at doing business because now you've got like a
nowadays, yeah,
textbook. You gotta
yeah,
think outside the box. It's not a test you
oh yeah.
pass.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think I've now I have an MBA, but I've talked more people out of them than into them.
Mm.
Right? Like no 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 no. You can get everything there with a library card. You're
Yep.
fine. Go just start.
Yeah.
And same thing, right? Stumbling across Europe and things like that. You go look. You start to realize things that your brain is good at, things that your brain is
Mm-hmm.
bad at, and those wonderful trifectas of what jobs people will pay you to do that incorporate those, right? I love that. Well, just for what it's worth, having nephews and stuff like that are like, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. What do you do? I'm like, you don't need to look at me at all.
No.
I'm not your answer here, buddy.
Yep.
Go walk around and
Yeah.
go look outside. You'll stumble across, and you've got more time to figure it out than you'd think. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. Well,
um,
and it's also just everything I've planned for my life hasn't worked out. Everything in my life that's beautiful and
yeah,
wonderful right now, I could have never planned, I could have never anticipated. Everything I've tried to plan, everything I've tried to control, everything I've tried to white knuckle so hard, I have lost,
yeah.
it's been taken from me, or I've fucked it up. So at this point, I'm just doing it. And if I'm successful, cool. If I'm not, cool. It's just life. I cannot continue to take it so seriously. Like I burn myself out. I get so sick of myself. So I just like I can't get attached to the
Right.
outcomes anymore.
It's like that version of stoicism, right? It's like, nah, nah, shit's gonna happen.
Yep.
What happens, happens. I will handle it as it comes. There's a cool quote about if I worried about everything, I would still have nothing or whatever else like that. I can't remember. It's
Yeah.
way more poignant and interesting than what I just said. But so that's it, Hachette.
They're
And that's
French. Yeah.
awesome. One, that's fun. What does the day to day look like?
Oh golly. I mean, it's similar, but it's different. I mean, it's similar in the way that there's always a new problem to solve. It's
Hmm.
different in the way that the problems stay the same, but they also change. So coming into publishing from a tech background, publishing is such an old industry, and
Sure.
it's an industry I'm incredibly proud to be a part of, but the digitization of publishing is relatively new compared to software and software as a service specifically.
Yeah.
So there are systems and infrastructure in place here, especially working on the D2C and the e-commerce side of the business, where because publishing wasn't set up to be an online business originally, it's set up to
Sure.
be retailers, it's set up to be like brick and mortar bookstores. And so
Yeah.
this transition into feeding metadata or having a D2C e-commerce like shopping space storefront, there's so many strange problems that I come across every single day that aren't so much unsolvable as they are, why the hell is it built this way? Or what do you mean these two systems don't talk to one another? And figuring out then how to basically like MacGyver this solution of, okay, we can't rip and replace the whole system without going, downtime in a way that severely screws our revenue. So how do we just hodgepodge these things together to get it to work, to do what we need to do? Is there a system we can build in the background in conjunction to, push out? And so it's a lot of really interesting problem solving. It's also a lot of liaising between our technical and our non-technical teams. I growing up, I wanted to be a therapist. This is as close as I've gotten, and it's enough. Having marketers and engineers get along and understand one another and being the mitigating piece between those two teams, I absolutely love it. I love both teams with so much of my heart, but it's also just, it is very, how does that make you feel? And what did you mean by that? And is this what you're actually asking for? And well, that's just how they talk, they're engineers, or well, that's just how they talk, they're marketers. And so it's a lot of that, which
Oh.
I'll complain about till I'm blue in the face, but I secretly love.
So I have like no insider knowledge of the field whatsoever. Although I have, this is have a little, because I actually have worked on books before, multiple books.
Oh,
I know
nice.
nothing. I know
Yeah.
nothing. So, like you, one of my favorite devices is my Kindle. I love reading, but like in terms of all of the stuff that you mentioned, you talking about, we're coming from Twitter, we're doing a product background. I go, okay, cool. So we've got an old, one of the oldest professions on the planet.
Yep.
Simultaneously, you have like all the disruption that comes with it. You have shortened attention spans. You have multi-device control. And I go, are they just, am I right to go, they're scrambling to find a new business model or other ways to build and drive revenue into what anyone will tell you that reads a book, like that's the smartest, quickest way to evolve your brain and change your life, right? Every book
Yeah.
is its own vacation. But simultaneously, how do you make money from that in a long-tailed situation like hyper? And is that the right kind of estimation and understanding of like the status, if you will, of the publishing industry?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you brought up a lot of really important things, and they all are kind of working in conjunction to create this horrible problem, which is just a decline in literacy overall. So, yes, people are online now. We're now trying to bring all of these reading materials online because people are less likely to go in and pick up a paper book. They're on Kindle or they're on, their
Yeah.
audiobooks are a huge thing. We do a significant portion of revenue from audiobooks now. People want to listen while they work or while they do something else. People don't slow down to sit with a book and flip
Yeah.
through pages and annotate. I'm still so old fashioned. Like I only do paper books because I like to write in the margins, and I refuse to join audiobooks. I refuse to go digital, even though it would be so much more convenient on a plane. But that's like the hill I'll die on, is I am a paper book girl.
Hmm.
But then on top of that, children are just reading less overall. Adults are reading less overall. So even bringing these platforms that can give it to you digitally, we're also just seeing a decline in readership overall, and adults reading less means that they're raising children who read less. And
Wow.
yeah, it's a learned
That was a surprise
behavior.
to me. I'm like, we're generally less literate is as scary as hell to me. I'm going,
Oh yeah.
oh boy,
Yeah.
uh,
It's
we're getting
it's
dumber.
well, because if you
Is that the
we
same
are getting
statement? We're
dumber.
getting dumber.
Reading comprehension is
Sure.
down. People can't understand each other anymore because you get truncated to like what 140 characters or whatever it is. LinkedIn, no one
Yeah.
reads your post unless you've got it broken out in sentences. You send someone a paragraph, they're gonna lose their goddamn mind. We can't think unless it's in bullet points. And then
Yep.
that's how we're communicating to our children. We're texting our kids. We're not sitting down and
Yeah.
talking to them. We're not picking up the phone and calling them. We're sending them short little little messages, and that's all they have. And that those messages are missing nuance. Those messages are missing, the context that you get from having to form your own opinion, have an imagination, understand points of view that are different from yours, because you're only consuming content the algorithm feeds you, which is content that you tend to agree with. So
Sure.
yeah, we're getting stupider.
Wow. Shit. That's
Yeah,
scary.
it's
Well,
rough.
okay, wait. So, like, from the kid side, because I have basically two 8-year-old boys.
Okay.
Um, how do you get them to read? I mean, because this is like it's bizarre. Do you know what Project Hail Mary is?
No.
Okay, for everybody listening, and coming from someone that you can't stand, because I listen to 3 hours of audio text. I don't listen to music. 3 hours of verbal audiobooks or whatever per day, every day. Podcasts and audiobooks only. And I like music, but I think it's just because maybe I have cheap, shitty headphones or something. But the trying to get that kid to read, their learning disability or something. It's one of those where it like takes a long time to click, but then all of a sudden it clicks type of learning
Yeah.
style. And so there's a lot of flashcards, there's a lot of reading, and I'm doing stuff like their little boy. So I'll be like, all right, cool. Let me give him like, here's a scarier book than I'm supposed to give you, because that's what got me to
Yeah.
read. Largely, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think anything was fun until someone gave me a Stephen King book called Salem's Lot. And I went, oh, you can swear and do cool shit in these? And then all of a sudden I just was voracious, because I was like, my brain loves, very bizarre. And I think it's even genetic because my dad has it too. But we love horror. Like, I can go to sleep to scary ghost stories. Like, really, what other people are
Fascinating.
like, that will give me crazy nightmares. For me, it's a lullaby. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, sure. Boo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for him, I'm like, cool, let's give him some stuff that's a little gore. And not like very, very little, reading these like comic book level books, that are
Mm-hmm.
literally look like comic books. And then I gave him Project Hail Mary, which is, so Andy Weir, this guy wrote The Martian and Artemis and a bunch of stuff like that. And the same kind of premise of someone MacGyvering their way out of death and like saving the planet type of thing. Super good, being turned into a movie. The single best audiobook on the planet. Like, cool,
Really.
really, really, really good. Very sciencey. This kid's 8, and literally, I give it to him as a lullaby type of thing. And in the morning at 5 a.m., I check like the little nanny cam or whatever. He is standing up in front of his little speaker thing, clapping. It's 5 a.m. He listened to the whole thing like the entire night, just infatuated. And it's like high sciency, here's how bacteriophages and rocket fuel works type
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm going, okay. So he'll listen to that all night, but we're working on 3-letter, 4-letter words and having issues. So it's one of those where it's like the intent and the interest is capable and available, but how do you get him to go like, no, those little words are just parts of bigger words, and those bigger words will let you get to this stuff. And it's hard
Yes.
because it's very, very frustrating for them. Like, the letters are getting mixed up, spelling. You realize that like, if he's got dyslexia, that means he's never seen the word written correctly. Why would he be able to spell it correctly? Right? It's like he's never seen
Right.
it right. So how is he
Yeah.
supposed to come up with it correctly? Right? It's like a disconnect where it's just like, it literally is asking someone a question that they've never seen the right answer to. Why would they get the right
Yeah.
answer? So it's hard. And I'm always just going, how do I get him to do it? I want to love reading, but screens are crazy, crazy
Yeah.
addictive and turn them into shitheads. If you ever just I don't know, if you ever taken a kid and just taken away their screen without warning them ever before, like if you just turn off the
Oh,
TV
yeah.
when they
I had
literally like
a yeah.
monsters. They
It's
they absolutely, like, if they had a weapon right then, they would murder you. Like,
murder.
it's like
Yep. Instant death.
absolute
Instant
death.
death.
But it is like obviously the single probable most compound interest useful skill you can give a kid, right? If there's
Mm-hmm.
anything you can give them, it's like, if I can get you to read, you're going to be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know how to get that. Well, do I know? I'm trying a bunch of ways to try to go, okay, cool. How do we get you to, yes, these are age appropriate and boring, but how do we get you
Yeah.
to the good stuff that you actually get it right? They're terrified of books without pictures and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine
Yeah.
now, based off what you just said, so are adults.
Yeah, and that's actually like to kind of answer your question about what do we do. So Hachette is
Yeah.
actually launching this initiative. We've kind of done a soft launch as of right now, but it's really going to kick off in Q1 next year, and I'm really excited about it because it's going to play nicely with the other work that I do. But
Uh-huh.
the number one thing that we need to remember about our children is that they are always watching us, and that as adults we are supposed to lead by example. That is our job as adults. And
Uh-oh.
so our initiative is called Raising Readers because it's basically reading with your child for 10 minutes a day. Like they've done studies, just reading
Mhm.
with your kid for 10 minutes a day can increase not only their interest in reading but also their literacy. Like it's genuinely leading by example. And so this initiative that we're doing is actually going to print a letter in the back of adult novels that will encourage adults to read with the children in their life,
Huh.
because if they see you reading, they want to mimic you, right? Like they want to be like us, especially if you're the parent, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, they want to grow up to be just like you to a certain point in their life. And so if they see you sit down with a book, then even if they're just mimicking you, even if they're just sitting down with their picture book, it becomes something that they're used to, that they see as acceptable, that they see as a way to pass time. We had a speaker we did something called Changing the Story Festival at Hachette, which is all about inclusivity and literacy, be it, from different ethnicities, genders, sexual identifications, learning disabilities, all of these things, and how do we make literacy and books more accessible for people across all of these different areas. And one of the interesting data points that came out of one of the sessions I attended was that men read less than women because they don't see men in their life reading. Like, think about it, like the majority of teachers are women. So when you're in school, you see it's a
Huh.
woman reading to you. It's your mom reading in the morning. It's not
Yeah.
because dad's not sitting down with the paper anymore. So young men don't grow up seeing other men reading. They see them doing other things. And so there's actually now another kind of initiative that's going on of, I forget the name of the organization that's trying to drive it, but to get more male teachers into the classrooms and to get more men reading so that boys and young men see that and they emulate that behavior. And that will hopefully, ideally, increase literacy amongst just men generally across different races and socioeconomic classes. So it really is the only thing we can do is read more ourselves, really.
That's actually really interesting. I like that premise because one, I could read in one of my books or something that, again, darker.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
okay.
think you're 100% right though. I'm uh, on my headphones listening. I'm on my computer reading, but they can't see that I'm reading. Right? They don't know
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm going, man. I have to read at least half of every day. That's a really good point, though. I don't think they ever see me. They don't know that I'm reading on
Mm-hmm.
Kindle and stuff like that. I do a ton of it at my desk as well. Damn. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good idea. All right, I like this. It's a good
Thank you.
start. How do they tie in the Twitter? Like you got introduced to the whole premise basically from someone from Twitter, and for me, by the way, it's going to be Twitter. It's never going to be X. It's always going to be
That, yeah,
Twitter.
no, it's never
But
going to be that.
how do the social aspects and everything tie into that? Right, that's the other one where I'm going. Okay, they're going to try to find additional reasons. Book clubs, Goodreads. You have other different methods to try to get people to kind of build communities surrounding books. I imagine that's a
Right.
big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's because you see more things like celebrity book clubs that are happening now, right? Like there's Reese Witherspoon's book club, or there's Gwyneth Paltrow.
Sure.
It's all of these people. I do something absolutely horrific in my own life. And by horrific, I mean I love it and I will not be stopping. Is every single time I date someone, I lend them a book, and it tends to always be Bret Easton Ellis. I
I don't
once
know.
went on
I've
a date
never
with a
heard of it.
guy.
What is it?
Oh, you have heard of Bret Easton Ellis. I went to a first date with a man and I brought American Psycho. And I
Oh,
said,
okay.
you're going to read this and you're going to hate the first 75% of it. And then the last 25%, you're going to think it's the best book you've ever read and you're
Ooh.
never going to want to read it again. And
Oh,
it was
I
great
think I
because
read it
it
in
gave us some.
seventh grade. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, the book makes the movie look like a PG comedy because I hadn't
Yeah.
seen the book, or I hadn't seen the movie, I hadn't read the book. I read the book first and
Uh-huh.
was just appalled. Like you have to take breaks at certain. Maybe you won't because you like the horror stuff, but there were just like some of like the graphic depictions of things in there. I was like, I'm gonna take a little breather. I'm gonna chill out for a hot second. And then I went to watch the movie and I was laughing because it almost felt like a satire compared to the book. But yeah, I mean, so that's where the social aspect comes in for me personally. I've had
Really?
many an awkward, I have to give you your book back after things don't work out. But I do always get my books back. So I don't care where this goes. You will be getting this back to me. I've had someone mail it. I've had someone just like leave it on my doorstep. One guy did come over and like hand it to me personally. It's like, that was nice. But no, I'm like, I'm getting my book back. Like, so
What's the book that you've given away the most?
American Psycho, probably.
You give it
American
away?
Psycho. Yep. And then Lunar Park is because that was actually that surpassed. So my favorite book used to be The Giver by Lois Lowry. And
Mm-hmm.
Lunar Park by Bret Easton Ellis has tragically surpassed it as my absolute favorite book. So that one, um, yeah, that one I have given to a few people, and yeah, I think so. It's always Bret Easton Ellis is the one that I go with the
I gotta
most.
go
It
read it.
feels.
I think I read it. It was one of like, so I mentioned like the Salem's Lot and the Stephen King
Mhm.
stuff, and I read it way, way, way back then. It would have been like seventh or eighth grade, and I'm like largely drawing a blank on it. So I'm going, I've got to go pull that one down. Hang on.
Yep.
Done and done. You've accomplished another one. Mine? Okay, you ready? Total
Yeah.
opposite end of the spectrum. And it's the
Okay.
nerdiest tool, a Confederacy of Dunces. It is the nerdiest
Ooh.
Mr. Bean, almost poo poo pee pee humor, but I
Yeah.
literally cackle laughing the entire time. If you haven't read that one, have you ever
Okay.
heard of it?
No.
Okay, so this is a cool one. I can't remember the name of the professor, but this lady comes to him and says, "Hey, my son commits suicide, and I want you to just read anything." And she basically hands him a stack of like yellow legal paper and going, "Hey, will you take a look?" So this guy's in the position of like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." And what are you
Yeah.
going to tell his mom and whatever? And he reads it, and it's brilliant. Like I think it won Pulitzer. Like it is one of the funniest written books ever, ever, ever. Jack Black has tried to make a movie of this like 10 times and can't pull it off. So it's really, really
Interesting.
dorky, but it is, oh my God. I can open up literally any page and I just start cackling laughing. It's hilarious.
Okay.
So if you haven't read that, that's the one that I do. Like my parents are Mormon and I'm like, you need to go read this. And then they read like 10 pages and they're like, this is way too dirty type. It did not work. And then I took it back. I went, okay, give it back. I want it back. And I
Yeah.
read 2 pages to them out loud and just was falling out of my chair laughing. And it never gets old. So if you ever
Oh,
do, I
I
would
love that.
absolutely go read Confederacy of Dunces. It's dorky and hilarious. So
Oh yeah, no, that's a great
there's
rec. I'm almost done with what I'm reading now, and I need another one, or else I'll just reread all my favorites again. I'm a creature of habit, so this is good for me. I will branch out.
That's actually another good one. I hate watching the same movies over and over and over, and I don't like traveling to the same location over and over and over. But I will
Oh,
absolutely read the same books over and over and over. Like there's a bunch Martian, Hail
yep.
Mary, Confederacy of Dunces. Those are ones where I'm just like, it's like a warm bath. It's like let's do this. I am happy to hop into those multiple times. That is awesome. I love those, and I didn't realize everyone probably actually has a. It's this stupidly naive thought on my part, but pretty much everybody probably actually has that book of that. Hey, no, this is you can bury me with this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and if they don't, then they definitely should, because it's something that just it becomes so interesting to talk about with people. Like it's interesting to sit here and have this conversation with you about like, okay, like why
Yeah,
do you love that book? And you're like, I love it because it makes me laugh. And I was like,
yeah.
I ended up loving, I loved The Giver because it made me think, and every time I read it, I would get something different from it because we read it in
Mhm,
school, and then I would read it once a year as an adult.
mhm.
And but then with Lunar Park, it's kind of this mixed bag of, yes, it's hilarious, but it also wrecked me. Like I wrote this article about it that I didn't actually end up publishing because it was far too vulnerable and personal, which is I used to publish incredibly vulnerable and personal things. And this one, I was like, this one's staying in the vault because but it's just, yeah, it was one of those things where it's like I am simultaneously laughing and crying and thinking about myself, about my life, about my relationship with my father. Like it's just so complex. Yeah, and yeah, so but it's like fun
I
to
agree.
talk
That's
about. Like,
like
what are you
the
into?
bar for a really good book is one of those like could if someone even paid me to could I have thought of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a ton of those books where I'm just like, yeah, it's got to be something that's got to be outside the realm of like what I consider like not necessarily prose. I'm the worst writer ever. But
Yeah.
I go, it's got to be something that, like, in the scope of thought, is like, okay, that unlocked a door in my brain that I couldn't have opened
Yes.
without it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
oh, I love that. You actually just reminded me of the Have you ever heard of House of Leaves?
Heard of, yes.
Danielowski, I think is the guy's name.
Okay.
Um, and like the guy treated his book like an art project. And it's a horror book. And it's one of these books
Okay.
that either you absolutely totally get or you hate completely.
Interesting. Okay.
And it was the guy. They basically you get the hard copy. You can't do a Kindle because it is literally an
Mm-hmm.
art project. It's written like a research paper because it's about a movie, a short movie of a guy that basically. Oh, this is sorry, but imagine a tiny house. Guy takes his old VHS video camera. He films a door on the wall, opens the door, and there's a hallway. Just a black hallway,
Hmm.
no lights, like black slate walls, ceiling, everything, and it's maybe 10 yards long. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's it. He closes the door, steps back, like no cuts or anything, and he climbs out the window of his house and then walks around the building. And you can see that there is no hallway. There isn't, that door is on a wall. There's nothing there. And he
Interesting.
walks
Yeah.
continuous shot, and then he gets in the window on the other side of the house, comes back in, and then reopens the door. And you can see that that door and that hallway do exist. And it doesn't sound. That's the only book that has given me nightmares, and it doesn't have monsters. It doesn't have murder, and it does. It is all about like losing touch with reality and finding like this.
Yep.
This guy finds that ends up being like an entrance to another dimension type of stuff. But the guy took multiple pages of the book. Like at one point, they're talking about people that are at the top and the bottom of a pit, and he
Hmm.
wrote the words in a circle like this, right? And
That's so
then
cool.
in some parts of the book, there is a little window in one bottom right hand of the page, and you flip it over, and it's written backwards on the other side, like it's almost transparent and see through. He married
Yeah.
Poe, the musician, and she wrote a soundtrack to the book. And anyways, if you ever get a chance, it's one of those like you should check it out because like there's parts of the book that you have to
Yeah.
hold up in the mirror and read backwards because of how like anyways, the guy definitely messes with your reality via a book. It's super cool, and it actually did
Oh,
give me
wow.
nightmares. It's a cool one. So,
Yeah, see,
anyways,
I think
check that out.
like you've got me sold on that one. I might ditch Confederacy of Dunces to go do this first instead.
both both totally worth it. So, and the thing has footnotes. It's written like a research paper. There's like 100 pages of citations
Huh.
to other real and some fake works that are citing like this is where we figured this out type stuff. It's like it's
Interesting.
insane. It's the writings of a
Yeah.
madman. That's the most well researched madness you've ever seen. Super cool. Absolutely go check it out. Anyone listening, go check it out. And if you don't like it, that's not my fault. Someone else will like it. I'm sorry, I digress. But yes, I didn't
Oh, so
realize how
fine.
much fun and love I had for that stuff. Tell me about the tie into kids and stuff. How does that actually come across in yours? Is it just because you were directed in like that, is that of choice or was that direction but worked out nicely? How did it come about?
Yeah, I mean, so I've always really cared deeply about children. I was raised by a single mom, but I was lucky enough that my
Mhm.
mom was a great mom and she loved us wholeheartedly. And it was also one of those things where because she was a single mom, we were very much in the it takes a village mentality. Who watched me after
Mhm.
school was who was available. Who gave me a ride home was just random people, people like whose kids I wasn't even friends with at school. I would just walk up and be like, "Can you give me a ride home?" Like it was one of those things where people used to look out for kids. And as I got older,
Mhm.
I started to realize that we were no longer protecting our children. We were ruining their education and calling it protection. We were forcing them into this world with parents who didn't want them and calling it protection. We are now asking for child free spaces. Like we're entitled to peace and it's their fault. Like it's just, as adults, I feel like we are failing our children. And I can't
Ooh.
do a lot about that aside from what I can control, which is whether or not I bring children into this world, who I choose to do it with, and what I do for the kids that are already here. And
Sure.
that has kind of just it's worked nicely with publishing. I originally wasn't doing specifically child literacy nonprofit work. I joined the New York Junior League when I moved to New York City because I wanted to make friends and I wanted to get involved in philanthropy. If I wanted to just sit down and get married, I would have stayed in Central California, but I wanted to do something with my life because I think it would genuinely kill me if I didn't. And I'm not I want a disclaimer before like everyone freaks out. Like there's nothing wrong with getting married and having kids and living a simple life. I just personally would probably kill myself. And I know that because my father was like that and I am my father's daughter. And I came here, I needed to do something. So I joined the New York Junior League to make friends. And the first committee I was part of was called Advocates for Public Policy. So we go on the city and state level to advocate for laws that enhance the lives of women, children, and families. And so we went to City Hall last year to advocate for laws on a city level. And I really, really enjoyed that. And a lot of them were about childcare and well-being, like removing toxic chemicals from women's hygiene products, because those go into young girls' bodies, which people don't like to think about, but they do. It's not just about us, right? It's also about the kids. And just like free school lunches, which actually passed. So we helped advocate for that bill, and it has passed in New York City, that kids now have access to food, because kids shouldn't be hungry, and that shouldn't be up for debate. That money goes there. But through that, they had a networking event where basically they brought in nonprofits that were looking for board members. And I had just started work at Hachette, and this nonprofit called Reading Partners was there, and they have an associate board. So it's a board of young professionals who basically work to fundraise, to raise awareness, to make connections, all in the name of helping to fund this nonprofit. And I talked to one of their executive directors for the New York City chapter, and we just absolutely hit it off. It was instant chemistry. She, as a courtesy, said, here's a free ticket to our gala. It's our anniversary gala. Come see what we're about. If you're interested, we'd love to move forward with you on the associate board. I went to that gala, and there's a picture. I'll send it to you afterwards in case you want to blow it up for the editing. But it's me hearing about the work that they do, and the look on my face is like I have just met the love of my life. I don't think I've ever looked at another person the way I was looking at this, and they caught it on camera, which was great, because it was one of those things, because they had some of the students come and speak about the impact that it's made and how literacy has changed their lives. And that gala, I think, was the moment where I was like, okay, I've always wanted to do something. This is what I want to do. And it just happened to, once again, stumbled into it, but all of the pieces kind of started falling into place. I work in publishing. I'm passionate about children and childhood education and child psychology. And now child literacy plays into that. And then when Hachette was getting ready to launch Raising Readers, I was like, hell yeah, I want to be involved. And I know all of these people through the other nonprofit work I do who are also going to want to be involved. And I just, like I said, we have abandoned our children, and it pisses me off. And I refuse. That's where the kids come into it, is someone's got to be looking out for the kids. We're all looking out for our damn selves, and it's disgusting, and it's pathetic, and it should stop.
Agreed. Very much agreed. And I'm a foster dad and went through a lot of the training and the stuff that you have to see on that. And you find out a ton of kids in a ton of crazy, crazy rough situations, and a ton of things that don't get done. I had a rough experience in that whole thing, and a ton of situations where I'm going, this isn't about the kid. This is definitely not about the kid. It's about you guys trying to keep your job or whatever else, but that is not a decision that reflects the well-being of the kid. Wholeheartedly agree. When you say we're not protecting our kids, I almost got the hey, we'll say more on that one. Is that partially we're sheltering them too much, not exposing them to stuff, or we're not sheltering them enough?
God, I think we're sheltering them from the wrong things. I mean, one of the most wonderful things that my mom did to me, I don't even know if she did it on purpose, because if you ask her, she'll say, you raised yourself, there was no telling you what to do. And that might be true. I've always been precocious, but I was allowed to fuck up, and fuck up hard. Probably because my mom, it was me and my brother. She was a single mom of 2 kids. So I've always been relatively independent. So part of it probably was, I was able to take the public bus by the time I was 13 years old. And I would just cart myself around if I wanted to be somewhere after school. I would just disappear. I'd walk to the public library after school. People would be like, where's Ray? She's gone. I just walked off. But because of that, and we're talking about important things to teach our children, teach them how to fail well. It's you teach, one of the things you learn in dance or sports or gymnastics or any of that is how to fall well, because you're going to fall. You can learn how to fall without hurting yourself. And it's the same exact thing. If we can instill nothing else in our children, teach them how to fail well, teach them how to lose well, teach them how to pick themselves back up. Because what we're doing now is, one, protecting them too much, but also people fail to see children as their own entity. I find that adults tend to see children as a representation of their failures, their government's failures, the failures of the people around them, and the failures of their own parents. And we project that onto our children, and they become an extension of everything that's going wrong in this world, when they never even asked to be here. And that anger and that resentment is so incredibly damaging, and it's happening because adults don't want to be selfless. And I understand it to a certain degree. I'm an adult who's had to learn a lot of things that I should have learned as a child because I didn't have a traditional childhood or a safe space all of the time. I get it. Like, you're allowed to be angry about what happened to you, but you are not allowed to take it out on kids ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've started doing. Children and children's suffering has become a pawn in a political and social game on both sides
Mm-hmm.
of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's saying we're doing it for the kids. No one's doing it for the fucking kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. You stumbled onto one of my favorite, longest running jokes for our kids because I was hanging out with one of our relatives. We were at a church, and his
Mm.
kid, like the back side of the door. The door opens like this, but then there's the hinge side,
Yep.
and there's that little crack
Yeah.
right there. It's got like this 1-year-old kid who's sticking his finger in that, like, hey, you're gonna cut your finger off. And I went,
Yep.
whoa, 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 whoa. This is before I had kids by like 10 years. We go, whoa, 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 whoa. And his dad is standing next to me. He goes, don't worry, he'll only do it once.
Yeah. Oh.
I go, oh shit, man.
Oh
So
yeah.
for our kids, it's XP, it's experience points, like for
Yep.
games. So they find some shit, food on the ground, whatever, and they eat it. And the joke is like, immunity +1.
Yeah. Yep.
and they scrape their knee, pain tolerance +1.
But it's true.
They're building
It's so
XP,
true.
right?
Exactly. Like, well, and I was a camp counselor one summer, and I always joke that my parenting style, it can't necessarily be called gentle parenting. It's going to be called just like blunt parenting, because one of the things that stands out to me, and this is how I always like talk to people when they're like, what do you think you'd be like as a mother? I'm like, I'll tell you exactly how I'll be. Little kid sprinting down an asphalt hill, and I go, hey buddy, you need to walk, okay? And then he trips, eats shit, and I go, okay, so do we understand why I said you need to walk now? But at the same time, I'm picking him up, I'm bandaged, I'm giving him all the affection and the love, but I'm also like, hey, shithead, what did we learn? Like, and so like, but that's honestly all it is. It's like, you don't have to get angry, you don't have to get worked up, but if they want to fuck around, they are allowed to find out, and that's good parenting. Like, it's not protecting them from everything. It's like, well, here we are. Like
now this is happening.
Yeah.
I like it. And obviously the swearing in front of children is fair game. I swear very much.
Oh, here's the thing. I'd rather them feel comfortable to do it in front of me than like be over it. Because here's my thing. We were raised on P's and Q's. I'll swear in my own house. I do not talk like the way I talk in my own house, like with my own family. I would never at someone else's house. Like, I go out and I mind my manners. And my mom used to always joke, because people would drop my brother and I off from play dates and say, oh, like Ray and Connor, they're so well behaved, they're so polite, and she'd be like, what the hell? Like, where are these children in my house? So polite, so well behaved, like so helpful, so kind, and we come home and we're just disaster. But like, that's so because your children should.
I've got the mouth of a sailor, and my kids don't swear, and like they correct me on swear. Don't swear. Like I mean, I did it like a month ago. No one tell anybody this, but he was like, "Don't swear," and I go, "Shit, fuck, ass," and he started laughing his ass. He's cracking up. He won't swear. Like, it's one of those. I'm like, how does this work? We're swearing a lot. You don't swear at all, and has no desire to. I'm like, I don't know, but it's working. So sure, fine. However,
if you don't make it forbidden, like, that's what it is. And it's also just, like talking to. Another thing that my parents, did for me pretty well was they never baby talked me. Like, it was never, how are you feeling, honey? No, never. It was, I got talked to like an adult from the time I was born, pretty much. And I maybe learned a couple things sooner than I should have, which probably led to me being precocious, which got me, in a little bit of trouble, but not too much. I did fine. I ended up here, so you can be a shithead and still do okay in life. But it was, just like talk. They're people. They're human beings, and you should raise them to be human beings.
Agreed. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm raising the man you are going to become, right? Like, I'm here to be a dick for a while because you've got to learn a lesson or two so that you don't become a dick later. I'm trying to prevent you from ever a dick. So
Yeah. I had
yeah.
a male friend of mine actually say something incredibly interesting and insightful to me that's made me think a lot about just a lot of people in my life, where
Hmm.
he said something along the lines of, my mom didn't raise me to be a man. She raised me to be a little boy. She took care of everything for me. She never held me
Wow.
accountable. She
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
protected me from everything because she loved me and she thought she was doing the right thing. He's like, and I have screwed up so hard in such unforgivable ways as a man because that's not who
Yeah.
my mother raised me to be. She raised me to be her little
Totally.
boy. And he's like, it took me so long to be angry at her for that. And that's something that's like, when you think about it, is what we think we do to protect our children doesn't it doesn't protect them because the world is out there and you're not going to be around forever, and so you need to raise them for the world that exists when you're not there to protect them more than you need
Oh
to
yes.
protect them.
Oh yes. I wholeheartedly agree. I was that same nephew I mentioned earlier. We were talking about it, and I went and did some kind of research, psychology, where they say like,
Mm,
as a heads up, they're like, your satisfaction and happiness as a human is kind of a teeter totter. It
mm,
needs to be counterbalanced. And it's not one
mm-hmm,
of these things where people are just happy and then they're mostly happy. That doesn't really exist. They're like the gym, and the reason the gym, people like the gym after they go to the gym, is because it allows you to get a lot of that anger and sadness out in a controlled environment, so
mm-hmm.
that the rest of the day is actually largely pretty nice and happy go lucky, because in comparison to that really difficult thing, you've already like evacuated a lot of that negative energy in a really good environment to do so. And if you don't go to the gym, you're just peppering it out throughout the day, and you're potentially
Yeah.
lowering your overall average fun. And
Mm-hmm.
well, it's not average, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, a big part of it is going, how can I make sure that like we're capable? Also, this was the other thing. This was from another book by the guy, hunting guy, but
Mm,
he got one of these things where they found out like some of the highest points in your life immediately follow the lowest points in your life. The hardest things
yeah.
that you do, climbing that mountain or whatever, has that crazy apex because the teeter totter is being massively counterbalanced by an accomplishment, right?
Yep.
So we're talking about a ton of people that are like hunting in winter outside without a coat and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and they're just going, yeah, because they made themselves capable of enduring that type of thing. They got used to the difficulties of that. So I do that for my kids, and a lot of people give me. My wife is she's a dance teacher and
Mm,
very good at it, but obviously she's kind of come up in the last 10-20 years where there was more of a, let's make sure it's always fun. And I go, a big part of this is making sure that you can pull it off even when it's not fun. That's like,
yeah.
that's go time, right? That's game day, is like, hey, how do you pull it
Yes.
off even when it's not easy, when it's not the ideal scenario? Like, what are you
Yeah.
in that environment is actually what I want my kid to be capable of doing. Of like, yeah, okay, this is what it's like. Yeah, we're going to go in the rain because we need
Yep.
to be able to go, hey, this is what it's like to operate in the rain. So be it, right? Like,
Yes.
we can handle that and still have fun. And it works. I mean, at least my intuition was that it always works. So now that a lot of that parenting advice that used to be like hover, be their friend, don't ever let them see a difficult situation, is now going away, that makes me
Yeah.
happy because,
Oh
yes,
God, same. God, same. And like, and not even because of the whole like snowflake sensitive participation trophy. Like,
sure.
we should be making kids feel good about themselves, but we
Sure.
also need to teach them how to be members of society. And part of being a member
Right.
of society and being a member of a community is that occasionally you will have to do things you don't want to do and you will have to be uncomfortable and you're going to have to just suck it up and handle it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the price you pay for community. And we have this whole loneliness epidemic going on right now because people refuse to be uncomfortable and they refuse to be accommodating, but they expect everyone to be uncomfortable and accommodate them. How does that
Yeah.
work? Tell me how that works. I'm supposed to show up and know everything that triggers you and everything that upsets you and walk on eggshells around you, but you don't have to
Yeah.
do that for me because of your triggers and your problems and your things that you've been
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Not how it works.
Yeah. It doesn't.
90%
Yeah.
of the gig is showing up. Just show up.
Sure.
Don't show up perfect.
Sure.
You don't have to be a
Sure.
perfect person. You have to show up though.
Sure. I do like that. The everybody gets wet in the rain, man. Like,
Yeah.
be ready for it. You got to show up, and
Yeah.
everybody gets something. So trying to get them ready for that too. Because I'm like, you're good at a lot of stuff. Dangerously charming is one that I haven't seen in a kid. So like, kids are cute and stuff like that. Imagine
Yeah.
one that is dangerously charming. Like, I don't want to say, like, the word is manipulation, and that's good and bad. But like, when he, like, I'll be like, hey, we're going to grandma's house, dial up the charm, and
Mhm.
he can like he'll do stuff where I'm like, holy shit, that's clever, dude. Good job.
Oh yeah.
He knows how to make people feel like they are on top of the universe. I'm going, all right, kid, that's a weakness and a superpower. So you be careful.
True.
You
Yeah.
misuse that thing, you're manipulating people, and he knows how. But
Yep.
simultaneously, I'm like, holy crap, dude. You like he again, phenomenal. I don't even know what you'd call that, but like he can talk anyone into anything if he wants, and he's 8. You're going,
Yep.
damn, that's not normal, dude. These are tactics that are really clever. When I get mad at him, he knows, and he's already learned that if he diffuses any of it by just admitting guilt immediately. Where I told him once, I'm like, dude, really smart people actually admit when they're wrong, because they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be smart, you admit when you're wrong as quickly as possible, so that you
Right.
can be right. So don't tie your
Yep.
ego to being right at ever. Like I'm very proud
No.
to go, nope, I got new data. I'm wrong. Let's switch. Let's go do the right
Mm-hmm.
thing. And he heard that once, internalized it, and then every time, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, say sorry about that. And you're like, huh. I had like 20 more seconds of yelling to do. Can I go back?
Yep.
He's like, no, you're good. You're like, damn it, kid, you're good. He's very
Oh
good.
yeah. Nothing diffuses conflict faster than being like, no, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
As long as I wish I would have learned that much earlier in life. I'm like, no, you want to get
Likewise.
smart, know how to, don't tie your ego to any single
Yep.
thing.
Oh god, yeah.
So, awesome. Ray, you're a delightful animal.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah, no, this is fun. We could be talking all day. I'll just like hang out. Like
We could do it again. I would totally
oh
chat
yeah.
with you any day of the week for sure. I'm gonna download and reread American Psycho. So thank you for that. Thank you for the
Of
mention.
course.
But if you want to drive people to favorite causes or anything else, what would you send them to? Locations, LinkedIn, whatever. Where would you go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so as far as raising readers goes, we haven't officially launched yet. So just follow Hachette Book Group on LinkedIn and social media to keep up with that initiative as we move it forward. But if you want to get involved in reading partners, the website I believe is just readingpartners.org. And then, yeah, so just, I mean, because they are all over the continental US. So even if you are not in New York City and you're watching this, if you want to get involved and you are passionate about child literacy, I highly recommend donating or volunteering as a tutor or mentor is also something you can do with reading partners. If finances aren't your thing, not everyone's got extra money lying around, especially in this economy, but you might have extra time. So become a tutor or a mentor for reading partners. Yeah, and then read more Bret Easton Ellis.
Done
And be
and
nice to your
done.
kids.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you again soon. That was fun.
Of course. Thanks so much, Dan.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.